Hey there guys, bringing you another mentorship class video for this week. Unfortunately, I'm no longer releasing these full videos over on YouTube anymore, and I will be releasing the full videos over on my Patreon. So paid members get some extra perks, but you don't just get that. You get tutorials, you get asset packs, you get tips and tricks over on my Patreon. So if you guys are interested, you can go and read in the top right corner and find the link for the Patreon, and in the link's description will also be the link for you to click. And if you want to take these mentorship classes, you can go and read the screen in front of you and just email me and you can get in contact and get in these awesome classes. And until next time guys, take care.
Yeah, sure, I don't mind.
I think because we haven't. All right.
Yeah, start with him.
Yeah,
grill the new guy.
You got two things. Hey, what's up?
Yeah, it's one of them's just kind of a little side project I'm working on. I'm just hoping to get a bit of advice because I'm struggling sculpting the brain. So
Okay.
I just wondered if I could get some advice from the guys in the group and yourself about it. And the other one's just a character I started working on tonight.
This looking pretty cool.
Yeah, it's Mars Attacks if you know it at all. I don't know if you know the film.
Yeah, no, it's a great movie. It's a really good movie. I mean, this is looking pretty good. Are you trying to make it look like Mars Attacks exactly? Is that the goal?
Well, it's a bit weird because there's like loads of conflicting reference online, but I'm struggling with the brain, if I'm honest with you, just getting the look of it right. Like, I found like some like someone had made an actual model of it and posted like a 360 of it on YouTube. And I just took loads of screen grabs of it, and then I like projection painted the brain texture in Mari, and then brought it into ZBrush and used it as reference. But even with that, I'm just struggling to get it to look right. I don't know. It just looks wrong.
Like the actual. I mean, I'm looking at the reference. Well, this would be the movie here. I wouldn't say. I guess with the brain, it's meant to be smaller with the actual like not sinuoid. I've got the wrong word. The little, I'm not sure you would actually call it, like the ribbing.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what this is called.
Cortex, I don't know. It's not cortex, is it? No, it's something else. Whatever
the little swirl parts of the brain is. I think I think the scale of that, you could look for like a movie prop. Have you looked at movie prop replicas? Sometimes when you're looking at the movie one, I know, I guess, yeah, it seems like there's more general detail to it.
Yeah.
To the swirly parts. We're looking at that. But you're pretty close with it. I maybe wouldn't even are you trying to get it? It does seem like you're trying to get it 1-for-1.
I suppose it was, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily 1-for-1. I mean, I know I've got like a bit of work to do on the side of the head and stuff, and I was even thinking that once I start to texture it, it'll probably make look a lot better when I start to put some paint on it. But
yeah,
I don't know. I just thought it just looks a bit weird.
Yeah.
Can
I just stop you?
Must admit, I came back to it today, and I
Where's your webcam?
Where's my webcam?
Where's your webcam? Been a while.
I don't know.
But before you guys go on, that's a pretty freaking clean scoped colon.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Marcus.
Freaking awesome freaking accent. You're Scottish, right?
No, God, no. I'm English.
Damn it.
He's English.
You're English? Oh,
yeah.
That's a pretty fucking cool accent, though. Sorry.
Thank you.
You guys are all the same, okay? You guys
I really
are all the
don't like
same.
my accent.
It's fucking awesome, dude.
And I listened to all you guys, and I came on the video at the
Oh,
class a couple of weeks ago, and I
are
was
you
too
from
shy
like
to say
North
anything.
England? Like, let me dig myself further. Are you from the North England or?
I am, yeah, no, that's a good
Ah,
shout, mate. I'm near
okay.
Manchester.
Saved it. Saved it. Awesome. That's fucking cool accent, dude.
You're
I like
pretty close to me then, where I am.
Yeah, not far. Similar time zone. There's
Mm.
Nice.
Europeans.
That's cool. All right.
You
Okay.
guys, like, I have like a whole continent that people like guessing where I'm from. So you deal with it, okay?
You just say like,
Brazilian. I could tell you was Brazilian.
Really?
oh, really?
Fuck.
Yeah,
Why? How?
the accent.
Really? Oh,
We,
okay.
we, we hear lots of Brazilians watching the Formula One, so you know, not
Oh,
to
I
mention
see.
the footballers.
Oh yeah. You guys are pretty big on soccer too. That's fucking
Yeah.
awesome. Football, yeah, sorry. Don't wanna insult the
Yeah,
yeah.
the home of football.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking
All right. Let's get back to this. So you really want to do like a movie version of it, don't you? Is that
I suppose, yeah. I mean, I downloaded a load of reference, and I mean, I did a sculpt of the body, the whole body as well, but I didn't like it because it wasn't close to the film one, and I couldn't get the detail on the full sculpt when I was doing it. I think the body was like 36 million polys or something, and I couldn't get the detail in the face of that because of the whole body. So that's why I sort of chopped it down to just the head, and I ended up remaking it from scratch.
oh yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't yeah, that's the tough thing to do is to get all that detail in the one mesh. You would have to use the geometry HD in
Yeah.
ZBrush, and
Oh, okay.
so what you just end up like localizing it, and then you turn it on and off. It does slow down the workflow a bit, but then you can get in like
Yeah.
go in and you start doing like little wrinkles and stuff like that, and it will be able to bake all that stuff down, but you just can't have it active all the time. So you could have done that, but apart from that, I don't even think. I guess the only reason why you would have needed that is because you wanted to make a full character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of like this thing, like naked version of it. I mean, you could always go back to it. You've probably got the old work files that you could go back to and use the HD mode on that.
Yeah.
But that's the only tricky part to doing this stuff. It's like you need to break it apart in smart areas to get it to handle. I guess it's a weird thing that we still have that problem with even the new ZBrush, considering it's like it's at its limit. The weird thing is it's capped, and who knows whenever that's going to be like unlocked. But for you, for doing this, I think you've done no renders of it either.
No renders.
I mean, it doesn't seem like you have generally much to go on it. I mean, you could sit and tweak it and tweak it and tweak it to get it closer. Because how long have you been working on it so far?
It was, I worked on it for like about 2 weeks, and I stopped working on it because like I know I've got a lot to do with the face still, but I gave up because I just got frustrated doing the brain, and I just couldn't seem to get it to work right. And like even using like Mari to do the projection painting was just frustrating because I really don't like using Mari. It's just.
Well, have you tried?
So I don't think I really got a good texture, to get the reference for sculpting, because all like some of the textures were a bit stretched, and I had to make some of them up because I didn't have anything for the top of the head.
Because you've gone in Mari and just textured all that stuff. You tried adding details like that, right? And gone in.
No, I wasn't painting it. I just did projection of like bits of the brain texture that I could pull from the
Yeah.
the YouTube video.
Oh,
You should reference real brain.
no, but the problem is it's not a real brain. So if you look at this is the movie, right? So if you want to be like close to the movie, what I would do is bake a cavity map to get all these little indents like that,
Yeah.
save you time. And all you're gonna have to do is go over and actually reference the colors that you've got here, pretty much, and do a more realistic version. So when you look at skin, you have that kind of like the different levels of oh god, I'm gonna have to go back to my old character days. You got the epidermis, subdermis, and what is it? It's your skin layers. Like you could, because you got the face skin there, and so you're gonna have to like incorporate this weird face skin along with like the brain as well. So I imagine if you're essentially doing, because I think you want to do like a movie version, but maybe slightly updated too.
Yeah.
Is that it?
You know, it's just a funny character. I don't even like the film that much, but I like the character. It's just,
Okay.
I don't know. I do like the character design, and it was always something I wanted to have a go at, and I just thought, what the heck? Because I mean, I think you guys, I know you obviously do, but you all sort of work in the industry, don't you? And I don't. I've got no real desire to do any of that. I just do this thing for fun.
Do you? Yeah, it's continue to do your own thing. Like, so essentially, I think what you want to do is you want to do your own version of this like Mars Attacks
Yeah.
character. And so I would do that. Like, I would actually go into this here and actually do maybe a slightly more realistic version of
Right.
the detailing, maybe just slightly more realistic.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a way for you to reinvent it too.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure if you would be happy with that. Would it make you more satisfied doing it? Because you're able to maybe, because so what you do is, okay, when you make something based on a movie and you
Yeah.
just have to do it based on the movie, it's always kind of like this. I don't think it's as satisfying as you think it's going to be when you first start it. But if you do it based on the movie and then bring it into whatever you're feeling for it, and it's your
Yeah.
version, you have your own
Uh-huh.
emotional attachment to it. So, I mean, if you were just to make this and release this as is,
Yeah.
it's just a Mars Attacks character, right? People are like, oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. You know, you just made that character. But let's say if you did like a super realistic version of the Mars Attack character,
Uh-huh.
it would be interesting, wouldn't it? It would be like, hey, what would the Mars Attack character look like if they did it like they did it today and they took it a little bit more serious? So
Right.
I don't know, but I don't want to like be chucking more work your way, because that essentially what you would have to do is like all these little mechanical parts would have to be a little bit more machined. You would have to reference
Yeah.
you would have to reference a actual like you could reference a scuba diving bottle here and then do a
Mhm.
sci-fi version of that, and then reference the suits here and do like a more of a modern take on that, because this is all based on that vintage style, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, what would it look like if you were to mix the vintage with the sci-fi, and then you truly have something that's unique? And it's like you have the Mars Attack character in the modern sci-fi world. It's like, whoa. And then you know what? You know what's funny? You know what's really fucking funny? Sometimes they start working on the movie and they go, remember that guy who did the new version of the Mars Attack character, and they hire you to do the new version of it?
Wow.
Sometimes that stuff happens. Like it really, like you never know. So
Yeah.
because everything gets remade, but that's just like wishful thinking, but you never know what happens with stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a good thing, because I think the one thing I always struggle with is I'm not good at kind of filling in the blanks and stuff, you know. So if I can't find reference for a bit, and I have to sort of just rely on my own, I suppose, visual library and imagination, I do struggle, because I don't think I've got a great imagination. So
You haven't exercised it, I think.
possibly not. No, possibly not. And you know, that's part of the reason why I'm here, Mike. So I can, you know, maybe get a bit of inspiration and hopefully get some pointers on how to just take things a bit further. Because I've messed around doing this stuff for years, and never really gone anywhere with it, you know. Just
Yeah.
and like I say, I've got no aspirations of getting a job or anything. I just want to be able to like have a nice portfolio on ArtStation. I'd be satisfied with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Mm.
I mean, so if I wanted to do my own version, I'm just trying to think maybe what I would do. Like, I guess the easiest thing is to kind of, I know it's like a bit of, oh my God, you're going to just trash everything. But let's say if we were, because I'm not emotionally, like the problem is I'm not
Yeah.
emotionally attached to this. You are.
Uh-huh.
And for you to do this would be harder than, me.
Yeah.
This is why certain things in life, like, when you give advice to other people about their life and like
Oh yeah.
they can't see it because they're so emotionally invested in their own lives. They can't see that's like the saying is like the forest through the trees.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, hopefully I can then show you that and we can go from there. So I think I don't know. Do you want to like me to do like a quick thing over the top of this? See if we can.
Yeah, go for it. I mean,
No.
I'd love to see a Michael Nash version of a Mars Attacks character. That'd be something.
All right, we'll see where we can go. I can't do like a full thing, but maybe I can come in and just start to realize some ideas that I think if we can add some interest to things.
Yeah.
This is probably the worst thing to actually take and try and do anything for without breaking it. That's the problem. You're going to break it, and there's a fine line between you've taken something too far and you've just made it your own. Maybe we can see. Let's see if this is the most hackiest thing I can try. So, I mean, I've had weird challenges, but this is the weirdest. Everyone's like, what the fuck? Here we go.
That's the cock off guy, right?
Yeah. Go have a penis. No.
That's going too far, that, sure.
No. They reproduce, don't they?
I don't know. I couldn't even finish watching the film actually. So
Oh, that doesn't mean this means you kind of hate it.
I didn't hate it. I think it just in the end. I think it was the noise that they made just did my head in the end.
No. They do some weird noise thing. Jig.
Or something they say. That's the only thing they say.
Yeah, like that. If I remember, that's how they communicate. It's actually, I think it's the only movie they managed to get a shit ton of celebrities for.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many celebrities were in that movie. It was quite surprising. I think it's because it has a 100-year history. Is it 100 years or no? It's too long. Because no one remembers the original, do they? It's based on the original.
Was actually the original. Oh, wasn't a sort of a new thing. No.
No, it's based on a very old thing. This is why the design looks so old.
Right.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's based on anything that we know. No, it is based on something that we know. It's based on the vintage era of. That's why it's kind of like set in the vintage, but yeah, not quite. Because it looks like he's got a telephone dial on the chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is pretty. I've got to say, I think the suit is pretty crap.
And you're the one that
it's
made
more
it.
the face that I like.
But you're the one that like making it. Just like,
I know.
Got to copy it. Like this is crap. It's like this is all right. Okay, this is a lesson to everyone. This is what you don't do. So just don't do this stuff. Generally, I'll try and like see if I can make something cooler there. Like yeah. Who knows what we can convert it to? This is like, I hate doing this stuff, movie stuff, because it's like I'll break it and then I'll be like looking back at it and I'm like, it doesn't even look like the thing anymore. Let me see if I can. I don't know. I can try and convert this stuff to Dynamesh. I think leaving it like this, it's not too great. Here we go. Dynamesh. Turn it up. Generally, just convert it to Dynamesh first. And you can just have some fun with it. And if this doesn't look cool at the end of it, you can't blame me, guys. This is like the shittest design in the world. It's like working with a piece of shit that's been on the ground for 2 weeks.
We have a saying over here in England saying you can't polish a turd.
You can polish it to an extent, I think, if it's fresh, but this one's all the way. This is all the way gone. It's gone. But you're right. Like, you really can't polish a turd. I had that for a job just recently. I knew going into the job, I was stuck with a turd, and I was like, "This is a turd." Like, I woke up every day looking at the job and go, "This is a turd," and it's like sometimes you can't do anything about it. It's like whatever the art director wants, the thing, and it's just what happens, and you're limited, and sometimes you know it, and you just have to be like, "Yep, working with a turd." And sometimes you can pull it off. Sometimes, I don't know. Like, you got to be careful in that wishful thinking, because you can like look at the end of it and it's just like even worse. But we're trying to. Oh God. It's like, what's wrong with what do you reckon is wrong with this design, guys? Like, if you were to pick things apart. Maybe I can do something cool like that.
The collar is a straight
Collar?
line.
Yeah.
I would raise it a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling.
I don't like the tubey hands and legs. It's repetitive and cartoony.
Yeah.
The rings that repeats themselves.
Yeah.
Evil things. It's like evil detailing. It's like, in terms of cool detailing. It's the thing is, it's like you could have stuff like that. Maybe if you went in and.
I mean, you know those stereotypical like guns for aliens, right? With like the circles on it. That's what I think about when I see this, like those legs.
Yeah.
It's like
Hey,
just,
Bendik, you were doing stuff like that in your designs. Like,
hey now.
Yeah. Very, very
okay, that's hurtful, you know. It's hard. This is a hard job, you know.
I remember when you did the very stereotypical detailing. It was like, but you come from that like cartoony background, and this is kind of like what reminds us of that type of stuff. It's like the cartooniness to it.
But that comes from the old style, right? This is
Yeah.
like the because he was matching, so it's not as, you know.
I don't know if you can just like. I just like to track lines down and try and not be too. I don't know. Because you have to think, well, I can't get rid of all those lines. There's too many lines. Maybe I'll just do some detailing on the top.
Maybe the answer is just to get rid of them altogether. Then, though, like.
But that's the thing. You would change the design too much.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's gone. Like the way of the dodo. You have to try and complement what's there. As soon as you start to remove like landmark features, it's a landmark feature, those rings. You could come. So what I would be like is that if you came in and did those rings, you have to respect what's there. And so what I would do is remodel each one as a unique little thing with some sort of like techie detail on it. I'm not sure what I could pull off, but it would take like it's essentially, it will be more work, but you would make it repeat as a cool techie detail instead of getting rid of those rings. And you'd find out something that you could stick there that repeats, that's not too, it's not like it's going to be too repetitive either. It just looks like it's a thing, like a ribbing type of detail. Instead of like a really boring ribbing detail. You can imagine there'll be like another one. See, I mean, I would have to keep drawing those all the way down, and that would give a little bit more interest. It would look a little bit more. I'll just put something there for the sake of it, because I can't sit here and do each rib. Like that would look cooler than just nothing there. So then you're still respecting what's there, but as soon as you take that away, you start you'll question what that is. I mean, you could change things like how that's not just a straight line. You can just like move it so it goes around. So there's like a dynamic, the shapes are more dynamic. I mean, so things like that, a little different. Okay, you could be like, you want to add some drapery in between these joints.
Yeah.
Then that adds realism just in between here. And you could I would like extrude like a little seal all the way around here. Just like a seal that you wouldn't want to be sculpting all this stuff like in, but just for the sake of doing a concept, I would do a really rough like a seal, as if it's like that. And so you have an understanding of what's happening, and you could have I need to turn the damn standard on. Not damn standard, the Dynamesh. And you can just have like little things like that. You start to, you maybe can duplicate it around 3 times or something, or 4 times. You can do it again. You'd want to get the evenly distributed as much as possible. And so when you start having things like that, you can see from the left to the right, generally more interest there now. And I guess when you have those shoulder areas, you can always like, I don't know, find something you can put there. Or we could do the thing of, maybe you can find something that will look good there. And we can just see. But you kind of want to start placing maybe those vintage like details too, trying to incorporate vintage detailings into like that. I guess you would study what is this vintage detailing. You want to also come up with your own type of vintage detailing if you could. I just want to delete this thing. All right, maybe we can put something new there. When in doubt, just delete it out. We can just make our own little corny thing on the chest, something like that. And I would like actually make it a little bit taller to give it to like a little twist on its proportions, to be like, hey, this is maybe more realistic than you think. You could add the cool, like, we could go like sci-fi ribbing in here. Like a support structure. I would make like support structures inside here. Go in and got to figure out something that looks nice. But I just won't spend too long. You could have something like that, or something with a bit more detail. And I mean, you could even go to the edge of it, give it some depth in there. So sometimes you can just like build on these details. All right. A bit messy, but you just start giving more depth and layering effects. And so the problem with this design is like there is no layered effects on it also. And so when you start layering more, it will start to come alive too. And the thing is, you might not want to be adding any bolts to it because it's alien-like. So you keep everything like almost, there's no bolt, which would keep it, it's like, oh, where is it from type of thing. And that would help the alien-like design. I guess you might want to be trying to make something here. And so you just start adding some details around here, which they're always finicky to do. I don't want to sit and trace also neatly, but just trying to give you some ideas that, because you think, well, the helmet needs to lock in, so there'll be some more mechanical structures. But you can see how easily the work will start adding up for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of work. And it could be like one of those things. Yeah, maybe you want to do that. Maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you can like bring that down a bit, give it some, you can make it like look like a little bit of a peck, maybe to fill it out a bit. You're hoping you're not changing it too much by doing so many changes.
And I think when you first kind of drew the panel lines in on the body, I just instantly looked more interesting. I was like, yeah. So I don't even think it maybe even needs that much, but you know, I mean, yeah, it'd be cool to sort of really, I mean, I really like that kind of peck thing you've done there now when you see it out from a distance. I think that, especially with that little detail in the middle.
Yeah. We'll look at it here. That's before. That's after. Ready? You're seeing before, after. Right? And that's only a bit of work and here and there. So that's what I would say to you to experiment with. And with all the brain stuff, actually make it more realistic. Look at a brain and look at perhaps what an old man looks like, because of the wrinkles and stuff, to reference the wrinkles. Because I could sit here and do the whole thing for you, but generally it's just me modeling and sculpting. But I'm here to show you that, hey, just do what you would like to do, reference this. I never say make a movie character, but if you're going to make a movie character, do your own thing for it, because then there's more interest. I think when you just copy things, you're simply going to be like everyone else. Yeah. So, but you have another piece.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, this was the one I was kind of.
Okay.
I wanted to bring something of my own design through, and so this is really early. I sort of only did it tonight, so. But I wanted to bring something that was my own creation rather than a copy of something.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can I give one advice before you move on? Like, you could split the head, like the skull from the brain, like do in separate geometry, like each hemisphere. It's gonna be easier to sculpt, and you're gonna get a better crease on the middle, and on the cheek, on the zygomatic, detach that goopy thing too. You know, if you want all in one
like
geometry later, you can do projection. Yeah, but I would detach from the face, because you also get when the brain will fuse with the skull, you can get that like bump from the skin going over. It looks like grosser, you know.
Yeah, I would do a
So
separate. I would do like a brain cavity, literally,
yeah.
the real thing. Go real.
Yeah.
Do the real deal, because this doesn't make sense.
I think if you do like the skull, and then there's like a patch of skin that it's going over the like it from the skull to the brain, there's like a patch of skin, right?
Yeah.
And when it layers on top, you're gonna get like a bump, like a crease on separate geometry, and that thing will give you like an extra layer of detail, and that thing will like will help blend the stuff, you know. So separate geometry will give you like some advantages, and if you want later, you can retopologize if you want everything in one
Yeah.
mesh, right?
No, that sounds like a really good idea. I've made a note of that.
Yeah.
I think when I eventually get back to this thing, I think I'm definitely going to go that way. Especially the idea about splitting the hemispheres. I think that's
Yeah.
because I was really struggling to get that sort of crease and oh
Yeah, no, it's gonna look. It's gonna be It's gonna be way easier, and it's easier to manage too, right? Don't
yeah.
be afraid of like splitting organic stuff.
All right. So what's this one?
This was just if it was sort of just an early design I had, and it was kind of I had this idea about this body shape that curves around, and it's something I've always had in mind to do for a while, and I never felt I was able to get it to work proportionally. And I feel like I know it's really early on, but I suppose I just wanted to get your thoughts on how you think it works, kind of silhouette wise, and
Pretty interesting. I can imagine it would walk from here, like that would walk like that and move around. Right? Is that your idea?
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty cool actually. I wouldn't. I've never seen anything like this before. I would say keep going. Yeah, I would actually say keep going.
Reminds me of
Great.
those things from Star Wars 5, those polar things that run, you know, that Luke's riding around on.
Is it
It's
look
kind of
like
running like
like
that.
that? Yeah, a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, it kind of runs like that.
Yeah.
Moves like the back legs. It's cool. I like it.
Yeah. I reckon just keep going with it. Try and figure out the rest of it, and just keep going with it. I wouldn't say there's really anything because you're such early stages. I think your general is kind of the way it's kind of like set up. It seems like you have to join the legs and figure out how they join, and that's what you're doing at the moment. And it's pretty early. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Geiger's work. It's like a queen of Geiger. Yeah.
I think that was one of sort of the inspiration of it as well, and well, certainly one of them. And there was like a film from like years ago called Metropolis, and I don't know why the face kind of made me think about that.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing that movie a long time ago. But yeah, I would say keep going.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Any more questions you got, Colin?
No, not really. Just I suppose that was just that's given me enough to want to keep going with it. I think so because I just wasn't sure whether it really worked like the silhouette or anything. Because what I originally thought about doing, because I thought like the way it would walk could be weird, was I was going to extend the arms and make like the arms almost like they could be legs as well in a way, so it could balance. But it didn't look right in silhouette.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you can angle the legs a bit like that.
Right.
Generally, I think once you've blended those back legs, it will look a little bit more streamlined. Let's do this the wrong way. So I think once you've blended that, the body, maybe move them down but you don't want to be moving them down too much. Maybe you just want to like play with the proportions elsewhere. But I don't know, like you could do that, but give it a bit of a bum somewhere because it's something female. So, I mean, generally I wouldn't be doing too much. I would just explore, like if you're pushing and pulling and stuff like that. That's one way to make it more dynamic. It's just to give things a push and a pull. But yeah, as you're pretty early, you can really just do stuff like that, push and pull a little bit. It's not too much I can change and really get too much out of it, because I think I think it's just generally maybe make the tail longer. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky one. This more comes from like just, I think, getting more into it. Yeah, I don't know. I could sit here and just tweak it until it's like no longer yours. That's all I would try. But then it's like,
no, it's cool. That's kind of fun.
Yeah,
I'm going to stick with this one, I think, and see if I can, really push it this week.
Yeah,
and get it moving along.
Yeah, I mean, you could do something unique on the back here. Maybe it shoots something out, has a weapon, defense mechanism to give purpose of this big long tail. So you don't want to be just like, it has a big long tail, that's all it has. Try and do some purpose, put some purpose into your work. So that would help the reasoning of why it's structured in such a way too. So you could do that.
Is there anything you could recommend I looked at for sort of reference that might fit with this? Or
there's that one guy that I know. I would say HR Geiger and this other guy that I know, Lewis Kroll. Everyone knows of him. You guys showed me this guy. Lewis, I probably got his name wrong. What is that? Luke, no, got it wrong. Luke Starkey. I think Marcus knows of him. He has some really cool stuff. I reckon reference his stuff. Super cool stuff. This guy. Check him out. Yeah. So,
wow.
Yeah. Go check him out, because I think that would be this type of feeling. That's what the feeling I'm getting. So, yeah, mix it with Geiger and Luke Starkey and the movie. I forgot the name that you referenced. Yeah, mix it with that stuff. All right. So
cool,
who wants?
thank you.
That's all good. So who would want to go next?
All right, I can maybe show you what I got so far.
Yeah. What did you upload?
No, I'm gonna upload it actually.
Okay. All right. Who else needs to
maybe
upload?
both. Yeah.
Have you done anything, Andrea? You've done something?
Yeah, it's on Dropbox.
I think I downloaded it. What was the file name?
Not the face frame.
That's what I thought. I was like trying to remember the. Just let me know when you've had. I had upload Bendik. I'll go through Andrea.
Yeah, sure thing.
And let me reinitialize. Oh, that's the wrong thing. All right. I always hate ZBrush when you have to it doesn't, you have to restart it and open it again to get your settings back. Okay. So how have you been this week, Andrea?
All right. I've been working a bit, and I think today was the most productive. And I've still got Monday off, so it's really, really cool. I like it.
Yeah. How long you had off?
Since Tuesday.
Oh, nice. So it's a good break, just to unwind. Have you,
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
lazed about a bit?
What?
Have you like lazed about a bit, just like switched off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Is this Halloween related?
So
Sort
I
of.
know it's childish, but
That's actually pretty
I,
cool. I mean, this
I
is
thought,
probably way more creative than anything you come up with. Like most people. This is cool. I'd say this is really cool.
well, I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
So
Turn
I
myself
thought,
into a pumpkin Morty.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that
do it.
hey?
Right. So I thought today I would just do something else for
Yeah.
practice, just try something and see where it goes. Because
Yeah.
if whenever I tried this, like let's say 2-3 months ago, it just felt like mission impossible. So I thought, okay, let's give it a try, see where it gets.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you've mixed sci-fi with monster, haven't you? Creature.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I wouldn't have thought about doing that. You definitely, yeah, that's really creative. Actually, really, really creative. That's
Oh,
super cool.
thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't really look for references much, just for shapes of pumpkins and how they're carved for mouths and whatever. I just thought if I start looking for references too much, then 2 hours later I will be more confused than I was before.
Mm.
So I just didn't.
Just go off and do your own thing. I think this is probably the most creative kind of use of what you've done so far. And I can tell with the teeth, you've made like, they kind of had like, these are like sci-fi teeth in a way, are they? Kind of like bolted in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really cool.
Oh, I'm happy that's readable.
Yeah, no, you've done, yeah, there's little things here and there. And I guess it's like, it's brains exploding from the back, or is that kind of like,
Yeah, the
yeah,
interior of it. I wanted to put some seeds on it as well, but it was too late, and then I just like, no, it's fine. It will do.
yeah. No, it's so interesting the way you've approached it. It's like sci-fi, pumpkin, creature. Yeah, that's, you've mixed all those three elements. So it could be like a thing for you that you can maybe explore a little more of this stuff. I don't think anyone's doing this. I think like, no one's ever seen like a movie with a killer pumpkin that's a sci-fi robot.
That's what I thought. I never
Yeah.
saw that, and I thought, what if? What if? Because
Yeah.
I want to do something that has hard surface, and everyone's doing like real pumpkins and variations of it. So I thought, what if?
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. I think that's this would stand out. So I think yeah, I think definitely you could maybe continue if you feel like you want to continue with it. I think my thing would be is to do some of these. You could do some like cool. Have you used programs like M.A.N and stuff like that?
Only a little bit.
Yeah.
I actually have it open right now because I wanted to do those cylinders in ZBrush, and I realized, I hate ZModeler. So I thought, what if it's just two objects that need to just cut into each other? So what
Yeah.
if I do that in Moe? And it took me like, I don't know, like 40 minutes to do that basic thing, but
Yeah.
it's a start.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say do some of these joints, have some fun with like the joints and things like that. The creativity of maybe going into Moe and just playing with things like this to add something to those. It's never good to have just like a cylinder.
Yeah.
It never seems good. And I guess these arms are like organic in nature.
I didn't really want them to be organic. Well, at first, what it started, it was like I made up a story, which has some plot holes in it, but this
Okay.
is supposed to be like a monster, and it comes and it steals bad children's candies, and inside in the chest it has like, that's its core, which is very, very, very hot, and it melts the candies, and then the candies along with the interiors of the pumpkin just drip all down, and that's
Oh,
why
wow.
there's drips there. But yeah,
Okay.
I couldn't really translate all that, so this is what came out.
So it's candy on the arms. Are you saying that's candy coming from the arms?
Yeah, it can be candy mixed with pumpkin interiors and just,
Okay.
but underneath everything it's supposed to have metallic stuff, like on the upper arm is just stuff dripping down on them, because yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so I would say with like, this is like real corny, like this face, you know, like this
Yeah.
is like you ever see like Mortal Kombat 1? It has like Kano with his metal face, and it's just like slapped on.
Oh yeah.
I would say maybe there's a way to make it cooler. I don't know if I generally just want to. I kind of want to like push it into the pumpkin's face. Maybe I can do something with it. I think it might be cool to incorporate that. So we turn. I don't know if we do something like this.
Oh, so like it goes into the pumpkin like a wound or something.
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
like
what you
part
mean?
of the pumpkin.
Yeah.
They're just blending that in. I'm trying to be gentle with it. I want to see what I can. What different though? I want to maybe set it on the surface a little bit, because maybe there's some sort of element of maybe that's a little too obvious. Maybe just like, you know, it's just that you get that syndrome of like floating syndrome. I don't know what you call it. It's just like slapped on top. It floats on top of the surface. It's never a good look.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if you want to do like a little radar dish thing there. Go a little, I don't know, thing that sticks out. Make it more robotic, maybe. So it's kind of like just incorporated here. Let's have a look.
Oh yeah, that is cooler.
Yeah, just, and it's almost like the pumpkin is not just a pumpkin. It's like this organic thing that is alive. It's like almost like healed around this mechanical structure. Imagine like a human being with like a thing the wound has to heal around the metal.
Yeah.
I think you can get certain instances where that can happen. I don't know if we do something like that. If we get rid of it, that little bump, then it doesn't really stand out. Maybe the whole eyepiece can be a bit more entertaining in that thing. All right. Don't know. Or just trying to see what structures I can. Pumpkin bleeding through. I'm just trying to think of like some structures to a bit more interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I find it really hard to get rid of boring shapes.
Oh,
I think that's just comes very difficult to me to make something more interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just playing with it. Doing some like little things like masking over the top of surfaces. You could play with this. This seems like it's a good opportunity to give it like something cool. But you don't want to be like, well, it's no longer a stem. Where it's been cut from. Maybe you want to like just do that. It's like kind of like as if it's slick back instead. Or, I mean, if you move it forward, no, it's too much. It's tricky to decide on like, oh, do you want it to have it like a kind of outward? This is like really odd because the mouth is like there. Maybe you want to pull it out a bit. Maybe more evil. But then you're like, is it too big? You're zooming out. I think that might be some slight scale issues too with this. So if where is my UI? I always get this happening. My UI disappears. I'm going to press restore custom UI. I don't know. Does anyone else have that problem?
Nope.
Just me. Where's my merge visible? Usually have it there. It's not there. All right. So I'll merge everything. And I want to just feel like sometimes it's just good to, before you get into like, maybe you just play with proportions. It seems like the chest cavity, we separate that head. Something's up with it. I don't know. Maybe
The chest.
Yeah, the chest. You say it takes in candy. Maybe you can give it a bit of a gut. I don't know. It could be, like Danny DeVito. Everyone else seen Danny DeVito?
Yeah.
He's like quite stumpy and short, and it feels like you can make it like this, like character, a bit like that. Yep. So it could just be a bob, like bopping around like that with no neck. Like, so it's like, this is kind of nice and full in the chest cavity. So, and there's, because I mean, your story is built around the chest cavity. So you'd want to give it some sort of importance. And so you just want to make it taper too. And you can imagine it being animated and like all the chest moving and heat coming from the middle.
Yeah.
And then the importance on the face and stuff like that. I think I've messed up the teeth. Doesn't matter. I think they're way behind there. I mean, you could make the teeth even more gnarly. I think I've really messed them up now. Something's going on.
Gnarly? What's gnarly?
Like vicious, like sticking out.
Ah.
Yeah. Like really menacing teeth. Like you wouldn't want to stick your hand in there. You know, it's like vicious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would play with the proportions. I think that maybe I've made it a little bit too boppy in the head. Kind of, yeah, once you start tweaking proportions, it takes a while to really get those proportions nice. Proportions is not something that you tweak over just a 5-minute thing of looking at it. It's literally like, I'm going to tweak this, I'm going to tweak that, and tuning it and tuning it and tuning it. And I would like, just look at how simple these objects in the middle are, like those joints. There's like an oversimplification that you're going towards for these things. I'm not too sure how you would want to like change it up, but I feel like.
What do you suggest?
I feel like you'd want to maybe add some type of joint system in here. Like if it's a robot and that's like the thing, but you've got like the spine going across here too. This spine would have to terminate into this type of joint here, into the thing. But I would maybe even suggest getting rid of it. We could have a look what it's like not to be there. You could actually have just like another detail. Like it looks kind of freaky without it. Let's have a look. Yeah. Isn't it? There we go. So you can have, I mean, you could have nothing there. Just incorporate maybe some other type of, something that will flow a bit better in that area. So yeah, maybe like that, just to, you could have it taper. Because you've already got the spine, and whenever you have like a mechanical spine, it's like, oh, that's sci-fi. So you can have that. And you haven't really done too much on the legs.
No.
I'll just like, yeah, have a look at all these joints, how these joints will go into one area to another area. You'd probably might want to make like this, that arm part with the, including the joint in Moe, and then bring it in and build up like all these nice organic structures around it and fuse it all together. You could then do the ribs maybe in sub D or in Moe, and then bring one rib in and then duplicate it and just shrink it down and just like jam it in there, trying to find ways to do these things without you having to do these extra things like one rib and then do another rib and then do another one, because then you'll just be like, it's like modeling the spine. You might as well just do one and then duplicate it, right? And so what you're doing is, it's like, you would say this is like a nice complement between organics and hard surface type of workflow. And so you're working very much with that. I would say maybe this eyepiece would be sub D. I'd make the eyepiece sub D and then keep it very simple, and then go into CAD and cut some CAD details out of it. Use the import feature in Moe to import the sub D and then CAD it out, CAD out certain details. So use that and do that. And with the tubing, you'd have to do that stuff in sub D. And just, yeah, I think you have to solve out what you want to do with the legs and the arms. This would be like a more of a candy-like effect. You might put like candy wrappers inside the arms too, and seeds and all that stuff. But then you question, how's the candy get from the arms, from the stomach to the arms? So you might have to do like, because that's what's happening, right?
Yeah.
So you might have to do like in a tube inside here, like insist that there's like a tube running from here down into the arms. So, because this doesn't look like it can carry anything, maybe you'd have to maybe show something and just be like, yeah, it's pumping out all the candy and all the crap to the arms. So yeah, that would be my suggestion for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know any resources for the mechanical bits on joints, like, I don't know, engineering or whatever?
Yeah.
Or how stuff works?
I would say the DARPA robot's pretty good. You ever looked at DARPA robots? Let's just have a look together. So as you can see, like, you don't want to be, you could go really complicated with joints, or you could go really simple with joints. I would just do the simple type of joint. You know, how if you can, you look at a joint, it's just, let's see if we can find it. Like, I mean, you could look at something like this, right, and go crazy.
Yeah.
But think about it. That's like the internal parts of the robot, right? And then you have the shells. You just want to make the shell. Don't focus on making the internals. It will just be so much more work, because there's all these little motors inside of the joints, and there's all these wires, there's all these things. So you just want to focus on making a nice, neat shell. It's kind of like how all this is covered up in like a cloth material. Like, don't bash your head against the wall and make all the internals, because it's just going to be pointless. You can maybe make little bits here and there, because you look how complicated all these joints are. And it's just crazy craziness going on. So you really just want to focus on making a nice, neat case around all this stuff and make that aesthetically pleasing, make that look cool. And here's some good reference. So yeah, you can just see how it's like a case, and it's all, because you don't want to, like having all these things exposed. It looks cool, but then you have to make so much work to do it. So that's what I would suggest, is looking at those DARPA and just type in robots and you get a bunch of stuff, because you get lots of stuff like this, like really complicated stuff. That's an insane amount to consider. So you could take little bits of pieces and then incorporate that, but generally what's going to happen is they need to make a casing for it and then encase it all. So
Okay, cool. I have another question. Wait, I wrote them down. How can I create the alphas and such? How do you do them in ZBrush, or do you use Photoshop as well, or combination?
You can use MOE, make parts in MOE, and then you will make them in ZBrush. So if you have MOE, you just make a part in MOE. And so if you want